good evening and welcome to our webinar today, where we are going to be taking you on your money journey, trying to understand how your emotions are impacting your decision making when it comes around money or comes to money. Before we start, I guess I'm aware that a lot of people don't know me on the call, or some people might not know me on the call. And I thought it might be helpful to just share a little bit about me, my organizations, and what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, so if you bear with me for 2 minutes, I will share a video with you. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing now because I want to make sure that you have sound. That would be useful. Share sound.
A seasoned executive coach with over 20 years of experience in leadership development and financial services, Uzo Ajore has worked with a diverse range of clients from emerging leaders to C-suite executives across various industries in the FTSE 250. By focusing on deep self-awareness, behavioral change, and long-term career development, Uzo helps clients unlock their full potential and navigate their leadership journeys with confidence and resilience. As the founder and managing director at Augment Results and Women Build Wealth, her financial empowerment initiative, Uzo's central objective is to always empower, educate, and inspire. Over the past few years, she has carved out a distinctive niche in equality, diversity, and inclusion-focused training and coaching. Her journey began when she observed the stark disparities in progress and opportunities between top BME professionals and their peers. These observations inspired her to create several coaching programs specifically to support Black and Brown professionals in corporate spaces, as well as launch WBW, a platform dedicated to empowering women globally. Through WBW, she equips women with the knowledge and tools to achieve financial independence and create generational wealth, fostering a brighter and more equitable future for all. WBW now boasts a thriving community of nearly 4,000 members and is continually expanding. Over the next year, our goal is to forge partnerships with large organizations that can support our mission, enabling us to reach and empower even more women worldwide. Check out our blogs and resources on www.womenbuildwealth.org and visit www.augmentresults.com if you are seeking an organization that provides seasoned, certified coaching professionals with a lived experience that matches yours. Thanks for your continued support. Now let's get into today's webinar.
Listen, I've got a smile on my face because I had my son record that for me. And I feel so proud of him. So anyhow,
Definitely. Yes.
welcome to our event today. So that's just a little bit about what this mission is. The work I do through WBW, I do just because I feel it was laid on my heart to do. And I've been doing it now for 2 years and we've been growing consistently. And the aim next year is really to get organizations involved so that we can start to do more. There's lots of conversations to be had in organizations, in supporting women in a real way, and also supporting people of color in a real way. I'm based in London and I see the need for that, and I'm having a lot of conversation coaching side, but all my research has shown me that Black people and people of color, we approach money in a different way, and we aren't really, well, every time I say this, people kind of get upset with me. We don't really talk about money in the ways that our counterparts, our Caucasian counterparts do talk about money. And I think we need to change that. Just before I introduce Fareen, just to give an example, I remember my younger brother and I went to boarding school here in England. And no, actually, this wasn't at boarding school. Sorry, this was at university. And my younger brother was at university. He's 2 years younger than me. He gives me a call. He's 20 years old. He gives me a call. He goes, oh, XYZ, his roommate just turned 21. I was like, oh, that's really great. Wish him happy birthday for me, blah, blah, blah. He goes, guess what he got for his birthday. And I said, what? And he said, access to a £1 million trust fund. That was his gift at 21. That was the first gift he got, right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
you can see that the conversations that are happening in societies and cultures that have had a longer term relationship with money and they are educating their children, money begets money. And so we need to start to have those conversations. And it's my premise, it's my belief that mothers can create a really very important foundation for our children. And the more educated that we are about money, the more educated our children are going to be about money. And they hopefully will have a better starting point than. Okay, so that's the work we're doing with WBW. But let me introduce to you, some of you that were here when we started at the beginning would have heard me and Farine talking about how we've been having conversations for 30 years, and that if no one talks to us today, we will happily talk to ourselves as we Farine and I have known each other since university. We met at University of Reading when I was doing my postgrad, and she was an undergrad studying law. And we hit it off because we were both gobby African women. She doesn't look African on the outside, and that really ticks her off because she's African through. Farine is a Kenyan woman. And so, listen, your story, I shared your story on my stories this week, and I had lots of responses coming back. For those of you, of course, that don't see these things, I'll just read a little bit of Farine's bio. So between 2003 and 2010, Farine lost her only sibling and his wife in a tragic road accident. She experienced a break in her marriage, divorced, and left her with 2 young children to raise by herself at the age of 27. Her mother fought and lost her battle with cancer, and she was basically left broken, alone, financially unstable because of all the economic situations occurring in that period. If anyone recalls, 2018 was horrendous. 2008, rather, the financial crash. It was horrendous. And it was like her whole world was crashing down around her. I can say that Farine is one of the most resilient people I know. And she's also one of the smartest people I know. Yeah, honestly. So I think maybe I'm going to hand over to you now. Just tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi everyone. I'm Farine. You can call me Fa. If you can't say the Farine, that's okay. You can call me F. F for fun, F for, whatever you feel like. Yeah. So I am essentially, first and foremost, I think I'm a mother. That's what I always, that's my grounding. That's what I look at, when sometimes as women, we become mothers, we're wives, we're sisters, we're whatever we are, once you have children, that changes the entire dynamic. And because there's so much power in shaping the next generation. So first and foremost, I do identify as a mother, because when I look at my kids today, they're 2 beautiful young women, who've always grounded me. So right from 2003 up to 2010, it was marriage. Then it was my brother passing on. My brother was my best friend. And, I remember feeling more than anything that I'm alone. I'm alone. And, the year after that, or within 11 months, my first daughter was born, and I remember thinking, okay, now I'm not so alone, because I was already in an unhappy marriage, and then the next year, so I did it quite quickly. My first daughter's name starts with A, and my second daughter's name starts with Z. And I said, okay, that's the factory closed right there. I have now two of my own, who have always grounded me. So from 2003 up to 2010, it was, I got married, my brother passed away, I had 2 children, it was an unhappy marriage, I got divorced, I became a single parent. I looked after my mom for 1 year before she passed on, and was running businesses that due to the economic climate were collapsing. And it just, it constantly felt like I was in a quagmire, a quicksand, and every time I would, just claw my way back up, it seemed like something else would just be there to just push me back in. And I remember, like, this was a feeling even from before. And I used to tell my mom that, Mom, I think I'm jinxed, because it seems like every time I get somewhere, there's something that comes and just like shoves me back, and not just 2 steps, like 10 steps, So, so the birth of my kids actually really gave me, some purpose, and it took away a bit of the loneliness. And I always think to myself that if somebody told me at 20 or 21 that, you know what, the next 10 years are going to be like this for you, I would have said there is no way in hell that that could ever happen. But yeah, so that's my story. And personality wise, I believe I have like 8 or 9. I'm also blessed with that in my head. So, I when something happens, I'm blessed enough to be able to see it from different perspectives. So that's a blessing that I have.
I love that about you, because that's so true. You are someone, I think, who you never look like what you've gone through. If that's, that saying, you see that on a mug or a t-shirt. You're a person that's always able to see the bright side of things, always able to push forward, always able to reach for the next thing. I mean, we talk about all the downtimes and the difficulties and things like that. But what I didn't say at the start was, those two girls, they're all grown up, they're at university now. Fareed has single-handedly sent them from Kenya to university in Canada, and they are thriving, both of them, the top of their classes. So yay, well done, mummy. Also,
Thank you.
you rose to the level of, COO of an organization, right? So
Yeah.
you clawed your
Yeah.
way back through, and I think that's a testament to what I describe as your executive function. You're someone who is able to look, get on a task, right? But we pull that also to today. Now you're a business owner, okay?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
even though I know you really well, when you said to me, "Oh, I now run money coaching," I'm thinking, I don't know what that is. What is money coaching?
Yeah.
Tell me about
Yeah.
it. And in
Yeah.
our
So this,
conversation, that's where this was
yeah.
come from. Yeah.
Yeah, and this may resonate with a lot of us here on the platform. So as you go through life's experiences, sometimes, you face different emotions. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
we don't know necessarily what our purpose is. And it's sometimes a feeling of like, I'm doing what I have to do as opposed to what I want to do. But it's just life, that's what it is, right? And even though we really crave and we really strive to find that passion, not everybody's as fortunate to know at 18 that, hey, you know what? I want to be a doctor. And that's my passion. And they go on to live the life of their dreams, right? Not everybody's that blessed. So, with my personal experience, it was oscillating between, recognizing that there's some level of like depression, okay, what can I do about it? Anxiety, I'm not happy. I know I'm not as happy as I could be,
Yeah.
right? So I go through this whole entire, you name it, almost everything I've tried it. I think there's just one thing that I really want to try, but basically just out of curiosity, is called like hijama, where I don't know, it's like cupping.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
I
know
don't know if
cupping.
you've heard of cupping
Yeah.
therapy. So that's, but that's more physical, initial physical, like they cup different parts of your body and then kind of remove the energy. But that's a physical, it's like Reiki, but on steroids and with small cups that might be fun. Yeah. So, but you name it, I tried it. I went through therapy. I went through Reiki. I did pranic healing. I did something called emotion code, body code. And then you feel a little bit better after that. And then came the whole phase. I don't know if you remember about manifesting
Oh,
and
yeah.
law of attraction,
Oh, yeah.
right? So I would sit there, Uzo, with my writing pad and do write this phrase 3 times a day, 3 times a day for 3 days, and then it went to five times a day, and then it went up to 50. And I was like, bro, this is not working. Sorry, guys, I use bro, I use dude, I use slay, and I use shade. I attribute that to my teenagers, okay? So it was just like, okay, one thing's not working. And I was getting internally frustrated, right? So, and then COVID hit. So when COVID hits, I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at my kids one day, across the table, and I'm saying, okay, hold on a second, um, I live life for today. What am I doing? I'm in the corporate level. I'm not enjoying it simply because of the politics, simply because of the red tape. I'm not achieving what I perceive to be my full potential. So I decided that, okay, I can only move forward if I take a leap of faith. One foot out the door is not really, it's a safe approach, right?
Indeed.
So I prayed to all the gods of the universe and the mountains and the sea and meditated on it and said, okay, what's my next step? And you're not going to believe this. I was on holiday with my kids in Mombasa, and this thing just popped up and it says, become a money coach. Right? But in order to become a money coach, you have to go through the coaching, which is awesome. So you yourself know what it's like, just, for your own experience and what the other party is going to feel like.
Yeah.
And Uzo, I kid you not, this thing changed my entire life. And for the first time, I could understand why none of the other therapies that I had tried were actually working for me. So money coaching is a step-by-step methodology, and it's based on creating new levels of awareness. Okay, but awareness in the form of identifying your own unconscious patterns, beliefs, emotions, right, around money. Yeah. And once you determine core issues that stem from these patterns and behaviors, right, you suddenly gain clarity that, oh my God, if you read, like, for example, my website, it's a story of how when I'm really small, my brother says, don't put your finger in this socket thing. Yeah, you'll get electrified if you put your finger in that, right? And fast forward, 15 years to seeing my elder daughter poking her finger in the toaster because the bread is stuck in, and I'm screaming, hey, get your finger out. And she's like, Mom, dude, chill. The toaster is switched off.
Exactly.
It's like, because I've done I suddenly realized, and oh my God, I've been holding on to this belief. I've actually taught my children the right way, but I still am holding on to this. They've moved on from that story. But I've kept this for 35 years, right? So this is where the money coaching, like, it just kind of exploded in my head and revealed all these patterns and these beliefs that I had, like, oh, I'm alone, right? So no matter who, which friend supports, what support I get in my heart, because I believe I'm alone, I don't fully rely on that person, and I'm half expecting them to let me down, right? So, so it's following the step-by-step methodology. I realized, that, okay, these are some of my patterns, these are my emotions, this is what I lead with, right? And within a matter of a month, within a month, I could actually see I had let go of so much baggage, so much unnecessary clutter, and the freedom. The most exciting thing was the freedom to create new beliefs. That, hey, you know what? I can pick up the phone and say, you know what? I'm feeling a little down. Can we meet for coffee? I should not feel that, oh, if I call them, what if they're busy? They have kids. You get what I'm saying? Is learning to put myself first, but not in a selfish way. Right? So
No,
that's what money coaching did. Yeah, for me.
that's really interesting. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, why it's important, but it just triggered something for me. I had I had 5 coaching calls this afternoon. I don't know why I do these things to myself, but one of my clients, we were going through a 360 evaluation, and his results had come back, and his manager, all his people, he's quite senior, but everyone that he asked to fill it in was so complimentary about him. And he was so down on himself. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at this. And so I said to him, but who's lying? Which of who, you or the 20 people you asked to fill this in? He goes, yeah, I know they're not lying to me. I go, so then what's going on? And so that just reminded me that, of course, I know about limiting beliefs. I hadn't translated it into affecting my finances or money. And I think that was a eureka moment for me when we had that conversation. And I was thinking, that I wonder how many people, like someone in here in the chat wrote, I want to stop impulse spending. And that was one of the things you'd spoken to me about. So let's go back a little bit. Why is money coaching important?
So it's important in that because it revolves around your emotions and money, right? So once you're aware, like, okay, so it's awesome that, she's aware, that, okay, I do impulse spend, right? So what money coaching ideally would do is we would sit and we would start at the beginning, right? And identify, because before she spends the money, there has to be there's a trigger. There's a stress trigger. It could be anything. It could be, I had a bad day. My boss yelled at me. I'm stressed being, with the kids. Like, I'm just feeling low. You know what I mean? I'm in an unhappy marriage. There's a whole myriad of reasons. But what money coaching would do is to help you identify the feeling that you feel before you go and spend. So once that feeling is addressed, and more often than not, it's a feeling of guilt, shame, abandonment, anxiety, and that's what the core issue is. But it's not necessarily always towards money. It could be a childhood trauma, right? Like one of my clients, for example, she had, she comes and she says, look, I'm unable to save money. I just feel that every time I reach a substantial amount, I'm aiming, say, I want a new car, and I get to that amount and I spend it, but I don't spend it on the thing. I just spend on the first thing that pops into my mind. Right. So I want to understand why I do this, because, I want goals, I want things, right? So while we're talking, and going through this and saying, okay, what else? What are the scenarios can you remember that this happened, And as we're talking through, I think after the third session or so, I get a call like, Farine, is it too late to talk? And I said, no, of course not, go on. And she says, I've just remembered something. And I said, go on. And she says, I worked so hard as a teenager. I babysat, I threw newspapers, I sold newspapers, I did everything that I could. I sold lemonade by the stand, by the side of the room, just to accumulate money. I filled my piggy bank because I really, really, really wanted this antique necklace that I loved in a shop. And I wanted this. And my piggy bank was full, and I was excited. And I came home from school that today is the day I break my piggy bank and I go and get my necklace. And she's like, come home and I find my piggy bank is broken. And my parents had broken it and taken all the money, right? And and she was crying, and she says, and I said, oh my God, that must have been so horrible for you. I mean, that was a safe space for you. They knew what you were aiming for, right? So as we went on, we realized that, one, this stems, so today her relationship, so coincidentally, as we assessed then and we assess now, we realized that every time she has a substantial amount of money, up to the point where she's got enough to purchase what she wants, she has wonderful relationships with her partner. But the minute she reaches close to that money goal, her relationship starts to deteriorate. And it stems all the way from this teenage experience where the people she trusted the most in the world took away all her money. So this is preventative. She gets to that place. If she's in a relationship, she spends it before this person has time to take it away from her. But at the same time, as her money pile is growing, her trust is growing less with the person closest to her. So it was like a profound, like, oh my God, like, no wonder I'm 35 years old. I've been unable to sustain. I'm doing well in my job. I'm happy in my, this life, but I've been, wondering that, I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled, right? So, so this mistrust. So until we sat together and said, okay, let's separate the two. This is not your parents. This is not that same. You're not that same child, right? You are now a grown woman with your experiences. And let's try and work on changing that belief that people closest to you are the ones you can't trust. And especially around money.
Yeah.
Right. So as we work towards that, and she had such an amazing partner, and I said, okay, so for one of the sessions, then we sat with him and he says, I wondered, and I thought, oh my God, this woman just continuously gets PMS, like more than the normal woman. Causing arguments, and he was trying to be really lovely. And, once he understood that, he was so much more sensitive, he went out of his way, and, he says, okay, I want to work with you with this. And, after that, they managed to get married. They bought a house together, which was a really big step from no trust, right, to actually investing together, that level of trust. right? And with her own children, it taught her, like, okay, this is the value. Now, I'll never do to my kids what my parents did to me.
Indeed.
Forgiveness plays a very big part in it, that, okay, I forgive them. You know what I mean? So that I can move on. It's not about them, it's about me.
Indeed.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Mend that relationship and box it nicely, seal it and bury it, and it's done.
It's done.
So
Now,
so that's what it is.
I love that. I remember you were
Yeah.
saying something to me about Maslow's hierarchy of
Yes.
Maslow's theory, anyway, hierarchy of
Yes.
needs, right? And I
Yeah.
really want you to touch on that. So
Yes.
let me share my screen so that, yeah, it's not a nice picture, but don't worry about it. You guys will manage, okay? I should have shared that in a different way, but
Yeah, that's okay.
I hope everyone can see it and read it. But this is, yeah, okay. Crack on. Explain to me why this plays a part in everything we've been discussing.
Okay. So the premise here is, so Maslow's theory basically is usually it's portrayed in a pyramid form, with the last layer, the bottom layer, the base
So,
layer being
the red layer.
necessities, the red layer, exactly, that we perceive as human beings, what we need to exist and what we need to be to sustain ourselves. Like, that's the basic. Without that, you can't progress. All right. So if you'll see at the bottom, right, there's breathing, which of course is just natural, it's not in our control, right? Sleep is not in our control, because eventually, even the most stubborn of us do fall asleep. So basically, food, water, shelter, clothing, right? Those are the basics that we need to function in any life. So now this has been the basis for most psychological, premises, that from the beginning, that are your basic needs being met? I mean, even with children, like, we face so much poverty, in Africa, like, we see it on a daily basis. Sometimes we may be immune to it, but it's there. Just because, we don't acknowledge it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And across the world, it's poverty, it's whatever, right? So those basic things, however, I think that this is my personal insight, right? That in today's world, and so it has been for the past 10 years, 15 years or so, right? It's actually changed. So that bottom layer, according to me, right, needs money. So it's no longer that food, shelter, clothing, right, are the basics. It's money that's the basic, because unfortunately, you need money for everything, like for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, the most basic need requires money to be fulfilled. We are human beings. We perceive needs in life through emotions. So, because we perceive our life as a series of emotions, experiences, belief, behaviors, and we act according to how we've always, like, if you were brought up very strict, you're not wearing, like, say, for example, short skirts. The likelihood is in adulthood, you're still a bit conscious when you wear a short skirt, right? It's been ingrained, isn't it? So, because we function like that as a society, it means that our relationship with money has to be really healthy. And this is profound. This is profound, Uzo. You can walk away from any relationship. You can walk away from your parents, your siblings, your children, your co-workers, your anything. You can walk away from your car. You can walk away from anger, joy, sadness. You cannot, in today's day and age, walk away from money. So now, if that is a relationship, right, that is the only one that you cannot walk away from. You cannot choose that relationship because it is there. Shouldn't that one be the healthiest one? Because it does form the basis, right? So this, according to me, so now there either needs to be an extra layer, everything moves up, right? But the bottom layer needs to be money, right? And this is where money coaching comes in, because we are human beings, we are emotions, patterns, behaviors, right?
Yes.
Isn't it? And we cannot, function. How long can we function alone? Isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
We need that.
We need that interaction. Now, if the interaction with money is the relationship that we cannot change, that has to be the healthiest one. So how do we get there, right? So that's that's one of the eureka moments that I had as I was, going through my coaching, that hold on a second, it's not about the food, it's about the money. It's the money that we've grown up. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? Rich people behave like this, right? They're arrogant. So these are things that we are ingrained with, and we don't realize it on a conscious level, but
You're
it
right.
affects us. It
You are
affects
right.
us in the back of our mind. There's a story going on there that, hold on, rich people are really difficult to work with. They don't care about other people. So here I'm saying, oh, I want to be rich. I want $20 million. But there's a totally different story running in the back of my mind that, hold on, rich people don't really care about others. But in my conscious mind, I want to care about others. So the two are constantly arguing in my head,
Yeah.
right? And who's going to win?
Absolutely.
Who is going to win?
Wow.
Neither, right?
Exactly. It's a struggle,
You're
isn't
stuck.
it? And
You're just stuck.
yeah, it's got me thinking a whole bunch of things. I know there's stuff we actually want to talk about, but this is like a conversation. I mean, guys, if
Yes.
you have any questions and thoughts,
Yeah,
please do
please
start
feel
to pop
free.
them
Yeah, feel free to
into the
just
chat.
drop them in.
We're
Yeah.
going to have a Q&A session as well. The opportunity for you, if you have a really burning question for Farine on how to do something, do pop it in the chat. She will be answering your questions as well. I had an example in my head. I remember another story you told me. I don't know whether to prompt you on it, but you told me about that woman that comes from a very, very, very wealthy family that was a client of yours. Yeah, so her people
Yeah.
were in, hundreds of millions status, at least.
Yes, like crazy
Yes.
money, right?
Yeah.
And she grew up with all the primary needs met, more than met, right?
Yeah.
But what she was missing was her parents around, because they were jet setting everywhere, so she had nannies, she had gardeners, there's a huge mansion, there's a swimming pool, she could have her friends over anytime, went to school in a limousine, had a bodyguard, the works, right? So she grows up, and in her adulthood, she actually just lives paycheck to paycheck. She went to an Ivy League school, right? Graduates like at the top, valedictorian, right? But she's taken a lower job. She's taken a lower job. She lives in a very modest house. She drives a very modest car, and it's like completely minimalist, right? So this went the other way, where she's seen money as money is equivalent to people not loving you, because if there's money, you can't get love if you have a lot of money. And if you have a lot of money, you don't care about other people, because she watched her parents having dinner parties and traveling everywhere and drinking and gambling, and having money means that you don't have good friends, you don't have relationships, you don't like your children, right? And because also there was so much money, of course, so much money also comes with its own complications, because they say, that those who have so much money, right, they are constantly worried about losing that money. So the arguments come in, you know what I mean? Like, and it reaches a point where, honestly, when you can fulfill every need, right, and let me say every want rather than every need, what
Yes.
happens to your needs? What happens to your needs? Just the need to curl up in front of the fireplace with a good book,
Then ignored.
image. Exactly. Money, perception is reality. So you have to now dress a certain way. You have to behave a certain way. You have to hold your fork in this hand and your, knife in this hand, and not be like me and just bite KFC chicken like with two hands and my legs if I could, you know what I mean? So this was her perception. So it went completely the other way, As we sat there, she says, I have millions. My parents have now passed on. I have millions of dollars. I don't need to work, but I want to be happy. And money does not equate happiness. So, through the process now again, and we said, okay, hold on a second. I want you to think, now you're grown up, you understand this, right? You're no longer that little child who wanted mommy to be there and read a bedtime story and she wasn't, right?
Yeah.
Can we forgive mommy for that? first? Can we forgive her? Because she was doing the best that she could. As children, we don't understand it, but as we grow up, we do. Okay. So let's work on the forgiveness aspect. And can we make a conscious choice that now that you've seen this side of the coin, right?
Mm.
Can we just look at the other side of the coin? You don't have to be like how you perceived your pattern. You have the power to change the pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
It's in your control.
a lot of people don't recognize when you're in the thick of
Exactly.
it, you don't recognize that you have the power to make
You have the
something
power,
different, right? It's like when people
right?
grumble about being in a job and then they come to
Yes.
coaching, oh, and my boss is horrible and I hate this and I hate that. And I go, so why on
Yes.
earth are you still there? Well,
Yeah.
it's not as easy to find a job as you think. Okay, that's a lie. Yeah, sorry.
Because murder is illegal, Uzo. That's why they're still there.
They want to burn their house down. They want to kill people.
Set fun. No, let's run away. Yeah.
So, listen, okay. Well, I know you have an exercise that you want to share with everybody. Don't you? But before we do that, so
Yes.
guys, stick around, right? Before you do that, I just wanted to highlight. So, as part of the work I'm trying to do in Women Build Wealth, I'm trying to find opportunities, and me and my team are going to be doing a lot more of that this year, finding opportunities for people to get involved in things that they hopefully will find useful and will support them in their wealth creation journey. So Farine has kindly agreed to create a whole brand new training package for the people in this community, anyone that wants to join, and to offer it at a crazy, ridiculous price compared to what she would normally charge for it, which is great. So typically, she only ever works with very tiny groups of people at a time and works really on a one-to-one basis. I have pulled her head because she's my junior, tugged her ear, threatened to show pictures of her when we were 19. And she has created this amazing, where is the thing that you wrote for me? She's created this amazing workshop. I have it here. It's a 2-day workshop that's going to happen at the end of June. And essentially, what it is she's going to work deep dive work that she would normally do one-to-one with her clients on mastering your emotions to master your finances. So this program, this workshop, is for anyone that wants to truly transform their financial future by really understanding their triggers, their limited beliefs, the things that are causing them to mismanage money. And I use the word mismanage, but it's not just mismanage. It's, sabotage your situations, not be open to opportunities, close down in terms of your thinking, any of that, anything that is hindering you from having the financial reality that you seek. She's going to be able to work with that over a 2-day workshop. Each day is just 2 hours, but there's lots of resources and lots of materials for you to do the homework and come the next day and you go again in the deep dive. So whether you're starting out in your career or you're juggling a busy household and life, or building your own business, or you're just passionate about imparting financial wisdom to the next generation, you might be wanting to come on this for your children to go, I want to realize what I'm thinking, where I am, so that I don't pass that on to my kids and make sure that they have a better starting point for me. This is for you. Okay. So it's at the low price of $200. It's $200 and it comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. Is that correct, Farine? Yes. Thank you so much. And we have like loads of amazing testimonials. We've created a whole, there's a landing page and things like that. And, we're going to leave that up. The offer lasts for, how long was it? Did you tell me 1 week?
Yeah, it's going to last for a week, and then it reverts to its normal price of $500. Yeah.
Yes, brilliant. So we're going to have it on for a week for $200. Can someone on my team, I think, is on here. If you can share the link in the chat, that would be great. So please go ahead and do that. But I will be emailing you all, and it'd be, honestly, I'm putting my $200 down because I'm coming for that for sure. Especially for my son and my daughter. I want to make sure that I'm not broken and not realize it. I want to make sure that there's nothing sneaking in there that I pass on to them, because that's going to
Yeah.
be the issue.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you for that. Now, what was the exercise?
Yeah. Okay. So also just to add on for this,
Oh, sorry.
when you sign up for the workshop, right? There's a really, really interesting personality quiz that you do that actually will show you. So there's 8 different personality types. And when you do the quiz, like that'll be one part of the homework that I'll give, okay? Once whoever signed up for the workshop. But it's really interesting. So just keep in mind that we're looking for magician status. That's where we're aiming at. Okay, so when you take the quiz, whenever you do, yeah, don't worry if you're not there yet. There's no right and wrong answers. And also, I also wanted to take this opportunity to honestly say that it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I really admire the work that you do, and I'm also about empowerment. I'm blessed with 2 girls, like I said. And women, we go through so much, you know what I'm saying, and we need all the support we can get. And it's honestly a pleasure, yeah, to be here today.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
so is everybody asleep? Are we sitting with our wine? What's happening? Because I want
Yeah.
to do a small exercise with everybody.
Let's actually, yeah, where is everybody?
Yeah,
Can
they're
we
very
shout out?
quiet.
Yeah. Can we come off mute and just say hoo-hoo, just so that we have eating dinner?
Hallelujah.
Eating
Yes.
dinner.
We're here. Hello.
Yay, thank you. Are you having a good
Yeah.
time?
Yes, we are. It's coming the cold weather. It's raining.
It's raining. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, great. So what do you need from me to do the exercise?
Emma says she's awake, so thank you, Emma. Okay.
Great.
All right. So, all right. So I want everybody to just feel a little bit relaxed. Okay, everybody just relax. I want you to picture you're going into work for a really big presentation. This is the make or break meeting. This is the one that you've been waiting for. You're dressed to the nines. You're, made up. You're everything, your folders with you. You look like the bomb, and you're ready. And this, you've talked yourself into, yes, I am powerful. I have done all your affirmations, right? And you're just pulling into the parking lot and you're just getting there, right? And someone hits your car with theirs. What's your instinctive emotion? What do you feel right there and then? Don't think about it. Speak.
Rage. I've got road rage
Yes.
anyway. So
Yeah,
rage.
rage. Okay. All right. So everybody's muted. So, okay. So that's what I want you to do. I'm going to kill someone now. Good. Surprise. Strong rage. Yes. Okay. So what do you want to do with that emotion? What's the first thing? Like, okay, I'm angry. What do you want to do?
Oh,
Right
I'm
there
a-
and then. Don't think about it.
I'm a yeller straight away. I'm just like,
Yeah. Okay. Start yelling.
yes.
Find out what's happened. Good. Scream. Good. Okay. All right. Now, I want you to sit back. Okay. I want you to close your eyes. Start with colorful language. My sister.
You're definitely Fareen's sister. She's reining it in today.
all the possible swear words would have been there. Okay. So I want you to sit back, close your eyes. I want you to breathe in to the count of 4. Hold to the count of 4. Exhale to the count of 6. Breathe in through your nose, count of 4. Hold, count of 4. Exhale, count of 6. Breathe in, count of 4. Hold, count of 4. Exhale, count of 6. One more time. Breathe in, count of 4. Hold, count of 4. Exhale, count of 4. Count of 6, sorry. Okay. Open your eyes. How do you feel now?
Super chill.
Okay. And what would you have done? You would have got angry before, right? What do you feel like you could do now?
I think from this
Okay.
state, yeah, I would still be annoyed. It wouldn't be anger. I'd be annoyed. And I would, I would come out and say something because that's my behavior, but I
Yes.
probably won't be yelling
Yes.
and screaming.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
not gonna lie. I think I'm still angry, and I think I'm still maybe not as many words. I would definitely
But
reduce the number of words, but it will still be colorful.
Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I think I need
Yeah.
more breathing. I think I need
And
more breathing exercises to get there. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So the point of this exercise, thanks for that, Emma. Yeah. The point of this exercise is just basically to demonstrate, right, what your emotional reaction is to a situation, right? And what the consequent action would be. And because emotions are formed in, in a different part of the brain, right? So emotional reactions are different from rational reactions. And rational reactions, the rational brain, will always make a better decision than an emotional reaction will.
Yeah.
So that was the point of this, that if I reacted to the situation where, come out of my car and I'm yelling and I'm like, oh, you idiot, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes those things are hard to take back, and if I had taken a minute or half a minute just to breathe in and come out, maybe I would have realized that, the person was a woman who had a baby in the car, who had just been stung by a bee. And she looked away for a second and she hit my car.
Yeah.
I mean, then the reaction would have been totally different. And then you end up feeling like an idiot. You're still angry, right? That didn't you check your car for bees before driving?
Before
You know what
you
I
drove
mean?
out, how dare you?
Exactly. But then immediately your perception changes, isn't it? Or if you see this person slumped over, so maybe they just fainted at the wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the point of this. And this is what we do with money. We get angry sometimes. And what do? You know what they say that when women go through a breakup, do you know what's one of the first things they do? They go to the salon and change their hairstyle. That's one of the first things that they do. Yeah. So it's an emotional reaction. And I like that. I actually like that emotional reaction as opposed to going to the fellow's house and setting his car on fire. Right? You know what I mean? But it just goes to show, right? That
Yeah.
this is what it is. And because emotions can lead to impulsive decisions. So with money coaching, we create a plan. And we see that what are the primary emotions in most circumstances that lead you to make impulse decisions, or they drive, the subconscious pattern. What's driving you towards this path and not the path you actually want to be on? So, we create plans, we stick to them. And once you've created a plan of action and the appropriate reaction you would like, it starts getting ingrained in your brain. So emotion is out of the equation. So you will almost always make a sounder choice that works better for you towards your goals.
Okay. So money coaching is like the hack, the planning, going through the uncovering your limiting beliefs, uncovering your triggers, then creates the hack to stop. So do you stop the behaviors? Do you change what do you do?
You see, like some people, it's dependent on everybody, right? There's this one case that I read about this guy who came in. His family feels that he's wasting money on cigarettes. He's smoking like 3 packets a day, and they're like, this time we don't have necessities, and this fool is just smoking everything. Every time he finds money, he goes and buys a packet of cigarettes. Right. And we're sitting with him and we're saying, okay, the ideal change overall, the logical change would be for his health and everything for him to quit smoking. As we're working through, he says, look, I really enjoy it. So he comes out on the other side of it and says, okay, I'm not going to quit smoking. I'm not going to change that behavior, but fine, I'll get a job to sustain my habit. Does that work? So they're not happy about it, but that's a solution and that works. Yeah. Right? So you don't necessarily, this is at your own pace, but what I found with the money coaching, as opposed to everything else, is that the limiting beliefs they become so clear, Uzo. You know, when you're doing law of attraction, it says, oh, close your eyes and meditate and do this and, you know, address your limiting beliefs. But tell me what my limiting beliefs are. How do I find those in the first place? And don't go telling me when somebody's yelling at me to go and drink a glass of water, I'm very likely to throw that glass of water on the person I'm arguing with, you know?
Indeed.
Take count to 10, do this, do that. You know what I mean? So this way, this is what I loved with it, because it helps you identify what the emotion is. The minute you feel the emotion, and you feel the emotion in your stomach, in your gut, in your back, in your leg, you recognize the physical symptom as well. So that alerts you physically. You know, it's like you got punched, so you have to stop. Say, okay, I need to recalibrate. And that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's on you. Like if you're okay, and people have, I mean, I know they say everybody's perfect as they are. Nobody's perfect, you know, but we accept ourselves the way we should accept others. Right. And that's what it comes down to. There's no standard that's equal for everyone. It's at your own pace and what you want. Right. But once you've identified these things, it's so easy to let them go. It's so easy to let them go.
Wow. Thank you so much for that talk. Guys, do you have any questions? Does anybody have a situation, or, you know, a circumstance, a case study that they want Farine to work on with them right now, right here? I don't know if that was a yes or a no.
Maybe I was really good at this, Uzo, and I've explained it well.
Girl, I guess they're stunned to silence.
Can I think I've always had a weird relationship with money. And it's interesting that you're saying, you know, breathe and, you know, just take a beat, you know, so that you don't overreact. And recently I was thinking that maybe some decisions that I make about money is rooted in maybe some things that has happened to me in the past. So it's really difficult. I mean, sometimes I know that it's there. Or maybe after I've committed the atrocity, then I know that, okay, it's because of, you know, X, Y, Z that I did that. But I'm not too good at taking a beat before I react. And I think it's working that into my everyday and making it a lifestyle. So it's just so recently I bought a Kindle Scribe. I convinced myself that I needed a Kindle Scribe because I was glancing through YouTube and I saw someone with it and I thought, oh, this looks really good. So I convinced myself, and then I convinced my husband to agree that it's a good idea for me to get it. But I didn't really realize that I felt a bit guilty afterwards, but I do tend to get into that cycle quite a bit. I just don't know how and what sort of conversations I need to have with myself. So that I decide, okay, why am I actually going for this? You know, how can I make better choices when it comes to money?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And, you know, I mean, like, you know, I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And this is a judgment-free forum. So, so basically how the money coaching would work would be, we would try and identify the trigger. So there's something that's happening to you. There's an emotion that's arising in you. And before you take this impulse action, and then later on, you have what's called buyer's remorse. So what it is that there's the emotional reaction, there's the quick action, which then is regretted later on. So what happens in the money coaching is that we work closely together. We identify what your primary. So if you think of, say, there's 8 actors in your head is a stage. There's 8 actors in there. And each one has its own set of personality attributes. So the anxious one, the abandoned feeling one, the one who feels that, oh, I can make anything happen, the gambling one, but usually there is an underlying emotion. So what we would do is we would work together to identify which personality is in play. So if it is the cautious personality, ideally you would not make that choice. You would do something else. You may go ahead and spend the money, but you may spend it on something else, right? So that's what it would do. So once we've identified, and this is the money type quiz that, once you decide to sign for the workshop, it's there and it's available on my website as well. So once you take that, then from there, that's a very good base, because that indicates that what part of your personality is in play before you make this decision, and what that personality feels like. And we delve deeper to see how did that personality make how did that come to be in existence. So this definitely goes back and it stems from somewhere. So that will come up for you. Money coaching it's a very emotional process as well, because money is such a sensitive topic anyways. But because we're going back in your past, there will be other memories that come up, and you will be really surprised to learn that actually this wasn't even off a money memory that you saw when you were a child. It was actually maybe something completely different, but your brain perceived it as X, and now you act in Y format. So that's what money coaching would do. So we would start with defining which personality is in play, what emotions, are in play, and those two, they're causing certain beliefs and they're causing certain behaviors, which have now become a pattern. So where you are at and where you would like to go. So that's what I was saying. So that's when we create, the where you want to be at your pace. And it's because it's step by step, it's not so emotionally exhausting. But within a month or 2 months at the maximum, you'll be in such a completely different place, because you'll have recognized the trigger, and you'll have recognized that, okay, this is what my impulse was, right? But this is actually where I want to be. So this is the behavior that I'm going to change.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Emma? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful, because I always used to think that the way I react with money is because of the things that I've seen with regards to money. But from what you're saying, it could be something else. It could
Yes.
be another trigger that is, yeah. So
Altogether.
that's quite
Correct.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Emma. You're welcome.
I mean, I think this is very interesting, and why I wanted, when we started having this conversation, I remember after you sent me a test to do, and I did the test, and I started to do a little bit of journaling and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, that I hadn't, I mean, unlike Emma, who has recognized the behavior,
Yes.
I hadn't even recognized some of my behaviors. And I was like, okay, and so the work I'm looking forward to doing is, where did those behaviors come from, right?
Yes.
Because I hadn't, there's things that you are completely, what's the word of, oblivious to.
Aware, you're self-aware of, and others you're not.
Exactly. So the things that I'm completely oblivious to, I don't even recognize that I do them. And then in having to do the initial questionnaire thing, I had to stop and really ask myself. And then that kind of prompted a bit of a discomfort, I have to say.
Yes.
A little bit of a
It's
discomfort.
an uncomfortable process, but worth it. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm excited. I think I'm really excited to finally understand why I do some of the things that I do.
Yeah.
And it's not, and this is what is interesting, right? Of course, the focus is on the money side of things, but those things are impacting relationships. They are impacting taking opportunities or sabotaging them. They are impacting, I mean, I know one of the eureka moments for me was my beliefs around motherhood and what that should look like versus what I want to do. Right?
Yeah.
And how sometimes you can feel resentful about the shouldisms, and well, I'm supposed to do it this way. I don't know where I've learned that, but I've learned it. And
Yeah.
then now it's like, oh, well, I'm annoyed that I'm having to do some of the things that I'm doing, but nobody's making me do that stuff. So, they think,
Yeah.
come on. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
definitely.
But then the
Yeah.
busyness of life and just work, you don't really think about it until you do, until you're forced to stop
Yeah.
and think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's why it's really important. Guys, listen, we put the link in the chat. Please have a look at it. If you feel it's for you, join us. It's going to be on the 29th and the 30th, 2 hours in each day. And Farine has kindly thought about what those hours are, at least for the people in the GMT+1 West African time zone, even though she's
Yeah.
not with us. She's in a completely different East African time zone. But have a look at that. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for taking your time. I know you've just literally flown in from Canada a couple of days ago. You're still suffering jet lag, but you've taken time to do this because this was the only time I had to do this month.
No,
So
no,
I
I
appreciate
yeah.
it. I really
I should
appreciate
be
it.
thanking you. Like I said, I really admire the work that you do. And I genuinely feel like even as a woman, as a single parent, I didn't have that much support. And where I had the support, it would have been nice because women sometimes have a habit of sabotaging each other. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
would have been really nice to have a community that would uplift us. So it is one of my things. Like I am very big on empowerment, that women can do anything as well.
Yes.
And by the way, we can pee standing up now. There's a contraption, so yeah, we can do that too, right?
I need a Google link. Really? Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Why would you want to? For what? Why?
Yeah, you're most welcome, Ravina. So, so in this way, I feel that where we can help each other, let's do it, and why not? My mother used to tell me something. She used to say, Farin, women make or break a family. And women, if you change the pattern, you've changed it for the next 7 generations.
Indeed.
And that is so important because time is not constant. Yeah, generations are changing. So why not? Why shouldn't we each try and play a part in uplifting our sisters? Why not? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's put our energy into bringing around positive change, community, a sense of belonging. That's what we all want ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we've come to the end of our webinar. I apologize, we went over by 8 minutes, but I'm hoping you found it interesting and inspiring, and I can see all the comments about that. So thank you again. Let's thank Farine. You can use your reactions and give her a round of applause if you would,
Yeah.
for taking the time to
Yeah.
be with us today. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.